What's up, MLW? It's your host, your boy, George Mackay. I'm not in the greatest of mood, and you can tell because I'm wearing headphones, and that's all I'm going to fucking say in it.
I'll tell you what's up. It's George's blood pressure because he's wearing headphones. He is not pleased. What are you drinking? A San Pellegrino?
No, it's a pineapple bubbly, and even that is not changing my mood. This
Your
will not
favorite.
be, yeah, it is my favorite, but this will not be the normal MLW happy-go-lucky. This will be running through the information so I can get these headphones off my fucking head.
What's up, MLW Rewind fans? It's your host, your boy, Uncle Bobby B, and with me, as always, is the one and only, the host of Straight Talk Wrestling, the innovator of MLW Rewind, the man with the golden headphones, even though they're black. It's George Mackay. He's super excited right now because I made him wear headphones.
All right,
yeah.
So in MLW news recently, as we all know, Davey Richards has canceled himself. And Rob didn't want to talk about this, but I feel we need to talk about it because he was a former open weight champion. Now, obviously, that title is no longer his. That title is wrapped around the waist of Johnny Fusion, John Morrison, whatever you want to call him. But regardless of the fact, Davey did make a statement earlier this week. We're going to read the statement in its entirety, and then that is the last we will ever talk about Davey Richards on MLW Rewind. So Davey Richards' statement goes, and I quote, "Hello, everyone. Wow, what a couple of days." Yeah, you can say that. There are allegations of domestic violence against me. The allegations I admittedly deny. And if you look on CaseNet in MO under my name, Wesley David Richards, you'll see there are no charges filed against me. However, I do understand the industry stance on the matter. Everyone should feel safe at shows, and I do not want to be the person who damages that. The pic being posted of my wife's eye is from training, and we regulatory train in martial arts, as many of the students have got black eyes and such. Again, no charges were filed, and I deny these allegations, but I must do what is right and not what I want. So I'm canceling myself. The great sport is far too wonderful for anyone, including myself, to tarnish it. I will wrap up my shows this weekend, and I will be retiring from professional wrestling. Please continue to support Team Ambition and this sport, Davey. So that's it, quote unquote, in its entirety, Davey Richards' statement. Rob, do you have anything you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, just his obligations with MLW were already wrapped up. Once he lost the open weight title, I believe that was the end of his run there.
But that was his predominant
yeah.
promotion since returning. So therefore, there were talks apparently of extending the contract. Like they were going to take a break for a bit, work on some creative, and bring it back at the right time. But now, obviously, that's not going to happen. Whatever ideas they had or possible talks have all been severed.
Yeah, I mean, not going to talk about what's been alleged. Don't know. Don't really care, to be honest with you. He made his choice to retire, and that's that. And we're moving on to people that are still working.
Absolutely. And on this week's episode, we got, as you can see from behind me, Hammerstone versus Jacob Fatu. I would be more excited, but again, I'm uncomfortable. So Hammer versus Fatu 2 is about to happen, and it starts the episode off, which we both found very strange. This should have been the main event. These guys went for about 25 minutes after entrances, so 30 in total with the entrances. But it was rather odd that this was the opener, and like you said to me earlier in a text, to quote you, very uncomfortably quote you, this fucking sucks.
I said it was just weird with the cold open. Just like cold open right into the match. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm not. So I know that we got this Taya Billie Starkz match coming. So I'm like, clearly that's going to be after this. I found it really weird that it was like the biggest 3-match title match in MLW history, and it's the opening match on the show. And maybe if the result of the Billie Taya match had been different, I wouldn't feel this way. But I just thought it was really odd. The feeling I got was just, it was like they were tight on time. That's just kind of the overall impression I got.
I feel that this was all filmed in its entirety, like back to back, but this was like the second half of a 2-hour segment or a 3 hours shooting. This was the second portion of it, and they just kind of went into it like that. And you're right, maybe they were tight on time. But yeah, the fact is that it was cold. Even the announcers really didn't seem, there wasn't much of a build. It wasn't like and now the time is now or anything like that. There was a little bit of a recap, but pretty much it went into Fatu's music and he came out right away. And I was like, holy shit, we're getting this now, regardless regardless of that, the match was pretty fucking awesome. A couple great early quotables. Again, we don't run through matches, but there are some cool combos that I just had to write down. In the early stages, Hammer was all over Fatu. He had this match like pretty much from the bell to the early like first couple of minutes, and he was paying homage to Richard Holiday on his wrist tape, which is really cool. RH written there for Richard fighting the fight that he was fighting, which, as we know, he rang the bell, so he is in remission. But this was obviously taped during his fight. But the one part I really enjoyed was the open five slap from Jacob Fatu on fucking Hammer. He like open slapped him, and there was no hitting your thigh. There was none of that. It was an open slap to the face.
He asked him what the 5 fingers said to the face. 100%.
Yeah, they should have. They really should have done a slow cam on that with the replay and like got the whole jiggle of like the skin and the emotion on Hammer's face. But they didn't. But they should have. You can go slow it down yourself if you want to. But it was fucking vicious. And that was pretty much the entire match. There wasn't anything fancy in this match. Near the end, there was, but for the most part, this was just two behemoths, two giants of our sport beating the living hell out of each other. A couple cool, I guess, combos. The exploder suplex on Hammer on Fatu into the corner was awesome. Followed by the kick to the face into a belly to belly into a Northern Lights suplex, but Jacob kicked out. That was fucking insane. I thought for sure with that combo back to back to back, it was going to be over. And then later on in the match, Fatu hit a super kick into a suicide dive, into a moonsault. Like, how fast do you have to be to super kick someone, suicide dive through the middle rope, and then get right back up, climb the apron into a fucking moonsault? I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And then he hit a senton, and again, that was pretty fucking awesome. Hammer kicked out of all of that. He kicked out of all of that. It was insane. Later on, Hammer finally hits the Nightmare Pendulum, and I thought it was going to be over. But Jacob Fatu, he makes history. He becomes the only man to ever kick out of the Nightmare Pendulum. And that's a big fucking deal. People may not realize, but that's a win in itself right there for Jacob Fatu. To kick out of the Nightmare Pendulum was pretty damn impressive. I'm not even going to lie. I've never seen anybody that literally, it's just good night. When Hammer hits the pendulum, it's good night.
Yeah, I liked how they kind of built up. Like, this match had a lot of false finishes and big false finishes. We're like, everybody was like, oh yeah, this is done. But both for Hammer and Fatu, and they built up to those falsies, which I really liked. I almost felt with so many falsies, both the guys kicking out of like everything that the other one threw at them. I almost felt like the finish was a tiny bit, just like a tad underwhelming.
No way.
Maybe it was just me. No,
I love the finish because I mean they usually, as the match progressed, they hit all their moves. I mean, Jacob again, he hit the alley-oos into another moonsault. Fucking Hammer kicked out of that. Hammer broke through 4 clotheslines like they were nothing.
That was wild.
Then he literally gave Jacob the clothesline from hell, like paying homage to fucking JBL from back in the day. Like he clotheslined to hell.
Jacob, and how about that? Him cold. Yeah, like I know, like sorry to break the kayfabe, but like that sell from Jacob Fatu, that corkscrew like backflip.
Oh yeah.
So again, we talk about it. Stryker talked about it. Joe talked about it. The agility. Both these guys, Hammer getting up on the top too, drop kicking Fatu across the ring.
Yeah, like almost coast to coasting him from corner to corner, not end to end, corner to corner. Literally the longest part of the ring. Hammer went from the far right corner to the far left corner. Like if you were wearing 3D glasses, Jacob Fatu would have came into your house. That's how hard he fucking kicked him. It was damn impressive. And again, finally hitting the second Nightmare Pendulum. There's more to talk about, but we don't want to spoil too much of the match. If you've watched it already, you know what we're talking about. If you haven't, we're just giving you the rundown, the results, the recap. He hit the second Nightmare Pendulum, and it was over. But let's just say that everybody hit everybody with everything. Their signatures, from Hammer's TKO to the alley-oops of Fatu to multiple moonsaults to 2 Nightmare Pendulums. Finally, Hammer at 100 defeated Jacob Fatu at 100, and there was no excuses for anyone. This was a match where they left it all out there. And I thought for sure maybe Jacob was going to turn heel. I really did, because I thought just the way it ended. But no, it was classy. Hammer and Fatu exchanged some words, sign of respect, shook some hands, gave each other a hug, and Jacob left knowing that it didn't go his way. But like Stryker said it the best, he can rest easy knowing that he was beaten by the better man, fair and square, in the middle of the ring. There was no excuses for this match. They left everything out there, and this was exactly what we needed from Hammer and Fatu. Hammer and Fatu 1 was subpar. It wasn't what we expected. Well, we knew Hammer was going to win, but it wasn't the match that we expected. This delivered on so many other levels in
Well,
terms of a
yeah,
wrestling fan.
100%. I think they had the match that they wanted to have, but they couldn't have because of Hammer's ankle in the first go around. They really beat the hell out of each other. Like I said, I thought the finish was a touch underwhelming, but that's just my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't mean that that's a fact, right? So
no, we all have opinions and things that make us uncomfortable, and we're allowed to express them in any way we want. And the other
you
person should
certainly.
just understand that.
Oh my god, I
What?
I
I didn't
I
say anything.
do, I
All
do
I
understand.
said was we all have opinions and they should be validated. I validate your opinion. It's not wrong. It's not right. It's your opinion.
That is correct. My
Absolutely.
opinion is never wrong or right. It is simply mine.
Exactly. Absolutely. Moving on. The calling card guys, no longer called the calling card guys. They are now called the Hive. They come out. What?
But I thought they were the calling.
Well, I don't know. Stryker and Joe kept calling them the
I,
Hive. Maybe the
I
calling,
know me.
maybe the
I
calling wasn't
noticed.
working. Maybe they didn't like the vibe, but the Hive, I actually liked the Hive because it fit the way they swarmed the ring. Like you swarm a hive, it just worked. I liked it. They came out with a couple new players. I mean, Ricky was out there, Akira was out there, Raven was obviously out there. There was a big man in a bloodied up butcher's apron. And he looked like someone very familiar, like a doctor, perhaps, like a doctor with 3 letters in his name. That would be Dr. Dax. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's part of the Hive. They obviously didn't introduce him as such, but this big, burly looking dude in a look like a what do you want to say? It's like Slaughterface, like Leatherface. Sorry,
Leatherface.
thank you, Leatherface from Wish. It was like they half Leatherfaced him. I don't know. It was like if Raven and Leatherface's mom had a one night stand. This would be the child that came out of that.
Oh my
So,
god.
the Hive is obviously growing. The followers are coming forth, but they swarmed Hammer and they assaulted the crap out of him. And I thought for sure maybe Fatu was going to come out and kind of save him, but obviously that did not happen. But we knew this was going to be Hammer's next opponent. Right after whatever happened between Fatu and Hammer, the octopus message that he received from the calling guy to from the Hive a few weeks ago. Sorry, I'm stuttering because I just want to finish this because I'm really uncomfortable. Anyways, regardless of the fact, the Hive, that message with the octopus in the box a few weeks ago, we knew that this is where it was going. Whether Hammer was going to be champion or not, this is where it was going. And I like the buildup. I love the fact that they let Akira, after they taped Hammer to the ring, they let Akira be the guy that hit the big move. He hit that running knee right on Hammer, defenseless, and it was great. If Hammer's first opponent in the Hive is going to be Akira, I'm interested. Sign me up. I like it. I like the way they set everything up. And I don't mind the name change. I did like the calling. I did, but maybe they just felt it wasn't, or it was too on the nose. I'm not sure. But the Hive works as well. Regardless of the fact, trust in Raven.
Oh yeah. I like the Hive as well. I was just like a little confused because I was like, oh, they've been kind of doing this the calling thing. So there's probably some reason for that that we're just not privy to. Who knows? Might have been like
A
somebody's already got a
creative change.
copyright for it or something. Who knows?
Probably that usually it's something so stupid like that that really it comes down to just copyright. So
Some
yeah,
trademark. Yeah. Who
yeah,
knows?
somebody's
But
got something.
it's definitely fascinating. I mean, Hammer was kind of running out of opponents. If you look at the rosters, like who's Hammer going to run through next? So they were smart to bring in these guys. We're going to have a new angle. I'd be curious to see if I think Hammer's going to have to run the gauntlet of the Hive. I think it's not just going to be like Hammer and Ricky or Akira running the next program. It's going to be like he's going to be wrestling all of them. They're going to be coming for that title. Should be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm fascinated. Uh, and I mean, if it is Dr. Dax, which it clearly is, it's not the worst thing. Just it'll
No,
bumper the numbers a bit in
yeah,
the
it gives them a little touch because now they have this like big behemoth, and Doctor Dax was very much like that. I mean, from his gimp character that he was doing with Holodead to what he is now, he is that background player that is very ominous, and he can do really cool shit in the ring if given the opportunity. So hopefully, the Hive breathes some new life creatively into Dax, and we get something more out of him.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
optimistic
Moving on, Sam
perspective.
Laterna is joined by Mance Warner, and he intros the FSC. That's right, the Second Gear Crew. Sorry, SGC. My apologies. Matt Justice and Manders, the one called Manders, if you will. And he asked Manders to preach. And Manders preached. There was a lot of quotables in this one. Some of my favorite ones were, we're here to whoop ass and take names. Buy the ticket, take the ride. We gonna whoop all the ass and drink all the light beer. Specifically, I had to mention the light beer, not beer, light beer. It's different. It makes sense. And then we had the big Battle Riot 5 announcement. It's only going to be available on Reels. So that means your boy, in all this new uncomfortable fashion, and Uncle Bobby, going forward, will be giving you all the rundown that is Battle Riot 5 when it happens. Very excited about that. And then again, Sam was joined by MSL. That's right. If you don't know, that's Mr. Saint Laurent. And he's issuing a challenge on behalf of Microman. He feels that Microman, you got to hold your fingers like this when you're talking about him. He feels that Microman has been bullied. And bullying is not a thing nowadays. If you're bullied, you should be canceled. Not his words, mine. But regardless of the fact, Microman has had enough. And he is going to stand up to his bully, the biggest bully that he's had since he's come into the company, and that is Real One. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Real One, Enzo Amore, will take on Microman next week. Not sure how this match is going to go, because we know that Microman obviously has worked with a few people that he's been comfortable with or know how to work with him, like Mini Abismo, like Lince Dorado, so forth and so on. So obviously there's definitely going to be a lot of working parts in this match to make sure both Microman and Real One look good in this whole thing. And I'm interested to see how it goes. But I'm very, very intrigued by this, I guess, challenge issuing from MSL and Microman to Real One. Rob, what are your thoughts?
MSL, the ultimate hype man in MLW. And, you know, he's Microman's personal just associate, takes care of his business, takes care of his promotion. And I like this. I'm curious and fascinated to see how this match is going to go. If it's just going to be a straight up match, if there's going to be some sort of extenuating circumstances to make it more interesting. I don't know. I really am intrigued though. Like I can't wait for this episode. I want to see how it's going to go. And Microman's amazing. So he's the eighth wonder of the world. What else can you say?
Mm-hmm. It's actually
Right
not
there.
the eighth wonder.
Ninth?
10th wonder.
10th wonder. We got 9 now?
Andre was 8, China was 9, and Microman would be 10.
Okay. All right.
That's I mean, they always called China the 9th wonder of the world, and Andre was always the 8th wonder of the world. Because I believe there's actually only 7 wonders of the world. 7 actual wonders of the world.
Wonders of the world. Stupid.
Moving on. Taya and John Morrison, Sam Adonis, they're looking for answers because CD was kidnapped by his own henchman a few weeks ago, and nobody's seen him. Nobody knows. They're in the back. They're in breach of contract because they want to talk to Court Bauer, and Court Bauer's, I don't know, goon or lawyer, if you will, say, no, you can't. You got to go out to the ring right now. If you don't go out to the ring right now and defend that title, you're a breach of contract. We will strip you of that title. So unhappily, they go out to the ring with Sam Adonis carrying the most amazing thing I have ever seen. The absolute greatest thing. This right here. Missing. Cesar Durant. 1 trillion peso reward. I'm not sure what 1 trillion pesos looks like to be. Is that like $1 million?
Dude, that is okay. How many zeros we got there? 1, 2, 3.
I believe it's 9 or 10.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, there's more. That's like 12 or 13.
So what is that? Like a zillion?
That's a tidy sum. Is what that is.
A zillion pesos would be like $100 million. And you know what? If you have information, you could call the number right here. No, it's not a 1-800 number. It's a 1-900 number. That's right. 1-900 Lucha. If you have any information on CD's whereabouts, call this number. Pay $3.99, which is probably going to go to paying that 1 zillion peso reward. But he's carrying this sign, obviously concerned, and it was great. Matt Stryker said something that I loved even more, actually made me spit my drink out because I laughed so hard. Instead of seeing that poster on milk cartons, you will see that on every bottle of tequila in Mexico, which was absolutely fantastic. And now we're getting to our obvious main event at this point, but they're coming out to defend. Taya is going to defend her title against Billie Starkz, who came out beforehand looking ready, looking happy, looking excited to be in the main event for the Women's Featherweight Championship. And this match was awesome. I mean, it really was awesome. There was a couple great moments here. Billie hit a suicide dive on John as he tried to get involved a few times. And he hit it, and then she hit it on Taya again. Like, she hit John with the suicide, went back in and hit Taya, which was awesome. She was going to go for something from the top rope. We weren't sure what she was setting up for, but John Morrison pushed her off the top. She wasn't happy. So he's in the corner talking shit, this and that. She gets up in his face. Taya goes to, I guess, run into her from the back, moves out of the way, stops with John Morrison like this, like they were miming each other, to have a moment to kiss. And what happens then? Billie takes full advantage. She goes for it. Taya moves out of the way, but John does not. And he gets a boot to the face for his trouble. Now, what was really cool is that Taya went for the road to Valhalla one time, but she got rolled up by Billie. And it looked like it might go Billie's way. But unfortunately, it didn't. And she did set up for the road to Valhalla the second time. She hit it. And she still is your featherweight champion. But this match was awesome. A lot of great moments. Billie Starkz looked great in this match, as Billie Starkz always does. This is an 18-year-old prodigy. They said it themselves. This girl's been training since she was 13. So Billie Starkz knows the business. She's been around the business. I mean, I've had conversations with her, 2 conversations on Straight Talk Archives, where you will see me in all my non-uncomfortableness. And the conversations were great because we talked about her dad photographing and all that stuff. 7 times I've mentioned.
7 times you mentioned. Okay,
7.
I lost
But that's okay. We're almost to the light at the end of the tunnel, and I can take these fucking things off. Shout out to S&ME. Awesome. So anyways, that's that. And this is great. And you know what? The Hive at the end, it was another promo by Raven saying how he's been around this business for so long, and everyone seems to have forgotten about him. But he's not going to be forgotten about. He's going to make MLW pay for his previous sins. And I like that. I thought that was an ingenious promo way to end the show. And, obviously, Rob, we'll get your thoughts on the Billie and Taya match, and then we'll get your thoughts on the Raven promo before we wrap it up.
Let's see. The Billie and Taya match was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Billie, it's fun to watch Billie Starkz work because she's so experienced, yet she's still growing. But like, she shows a lot of maturity in the way she works. She sells with her face a lot. I loved that, they really are playing that underdog angle with her against CD, Lucha Underground, Taya, Sam, Johnny. The sign was gold. The comedic value here that they're bringing is great. Thought it was a great way to kind of put a little bit of a spotlight on Billie Starkz. I mean, they really put her over in terms of she's performed at Korakuen Hall. She's done so much. So I really think they see a potential future there with Billie and MLW. Kind of thought Billie might take the title here, but nope. We're going to keep going with Taya. That's cool. Billie might get another shot down the line. I don't know, but we'll see. They seem to have some things coming down the pipeline, which I like. We got some long-term booking happening here. And as far as Raven's promo, also quite enjoyed it. I mean, he's not here to really wrestle. He's here to be a voice and cut promos and advance stories. And I think they're making good use of him right now with what he did. And that was an interesting angle. He's coming back to make people pay for their sins. The world he was talking about 10 years ago was the world that we're living in now. Very cool stuff. I liked it. Overall, a good episode, despite the odd excuse me, what's the way I put it? Scheduling of the matches. Thought they should have flipped it, but hey, is what it is. Didn't make the episode or the match any less quality. Do you concur?
I did concur. I clearly said that I enjoyed everything. I did.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Okay, why don't you take the headphones off so you stop being such a grumpy Gus?
No, we're already halfway. We're already done now. Another interesting factoid to mention is that Matt Striker, during the Billie Starkz and Taya Valkyrie match, he mentioned that this match was originally supposed to be Taya and Delmy. And for whatever reason, Delmy was pushed, I guess, not cleared or not accepted by CD. So I wonder what story they're running there. Maybe this is the fact that, much like the gatekeeper clause of Joseph Samael and Jacob Fatu, maybe this is the same thing. Maybe CD has a gatekeeper clause on his champions in Aztec Underground. And I guess he picks or handpicks their opponents, if you will. So interesting to see how this whole thing plays out and where CD is. And remember, if you want to know where CD is, or if you have any information on CD, please call 1-900-LUCHA. That's 1-900-LUCHA, and you will be connected to someone who will take down the information. And if it does pan out, you could possibly be 1 bazillion pesos richer. And that's huge. That's huge.
A conversion rate.
That's a lot of tequila. And again, you will see these labels on a lot of tequila bottles
On the
in
bottles.
Mexico. Yep, they will be starting very, very shortly. As always, I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay. Sorry I was not in a better mood today. Hopefully next week will be better. And as always, he is the one and only Uncle Bobby B. You can find us every week on Straight Talk Wrestling on MLW. And of course, if you're listening to this echo-free episode, then you're listening on SNME. Peace, love, and wrestling, guys. We'll see you next week.